Hi everyone, welcome to my channel, and today we are going to do a tutorial using Black Widow pencils to create this kind of light brown hair. I did share this on my community tab, and pretty much everyone said yes, they want to see the tutorial. So like I said, Black Widows. I'm going to do this in real time. I saved a few chunks to do with you guys. It's been killing me too because I'm like, I want to finish that picture. So you're going to need a couple sets, unfortunately. I should challenge myself to use one set, huh? All right, so you're going to need the Skin Tone Dark set, no matter what. One of the colors is Midnight. Now, if you don't have Midnight, you can replace it with the Black Widow Black from the original Black Widow series. But like I said, you'll need the Skin Tone Dark no matter what, because you'll also need Chalk Tone. And then you will need Negra, also from Skin Tone Dark. Then you'll need Dragon Castle from, well, you guessed it, the Dragon set. Then you will need from the OG Black Widows, Foxy Brown. And then from Scorpion, SC18, which I think is Dark Tan. As you can see, I don't know why when they did the Scorpion series, they moved the names to the middle of the pencil, but once you get about halfway through, well, the name is gone. So now I just have the number. And once that number is gone, well, I'm going to have to write it down here in a Posca. So you're going to need all of those colors. I know, that's a lot. What is it? 6? Hey, 6 is actually kind of toned down for me. But I had started this hair with no intention of making it a tutorial. So, and you guys know me, if I'm not doing a tutorial, I usually use a lot more colors. So be happy that there's only 6, I guess. Let me show you the basics of this one. So your SC18, which is the tannish color, is your base color. That is holding the highlight for you guys, okay? Now, if you don't have Black Widows, you can still do this tutorial, so please don't think you can't. Just find similar-ish colors. Honestly, just pull some browns. You need a black, a dark brown, medium brown, and then some kind of, darker tan colors, and you can pull this off. It may not be exactly the same, but I'm trying to teach you more of the technique versus the color itself, so that you kind of understand. So we're going to start with SC18, our lightest color, aka our highlight color. And let me change the camera angle for you guys. Okay. So with our SC18 right there, we are going to just fill in the highlight. Now, even if you weren't using this picture, which is from Mariola Budek's Hair Inspirations, one of them, the highlight usually in a braid is going to be right here in the center. It's not focusing very well, that zoomed in. So when you have your hair in a braid, it's going to be always darker where it meets because it's tucking in or tucking under. So here we have it tucking into this clump of hair, tucking under this clump of hair. There's always going to be darkness from those ends, okay, no matter what. And so the braid, if you ever braid your hair, you'll notice it naturally curves, even a tiny bit. That curve is going to catch the highlight. So even if this grayscale wasn't here, I would still be tossing that down as my highlight spot right there because that's where the curve is, right? The fattest part of the braid. Now, I take my Midnight or just my, jet black color, and I outline gently my area where this clump is that we're working on. Now see, I didn't outline here because this is going to be lighter on the outside because this is out, it's not tucking into anything. In fact, it's overlapping where this piece of hair is, which is actually this one. It, tumbles all the way through. Okay, now flicking motion. You just start at the at the base, that's where your pressure is, and then lift up as you pull. Now, it's like second nature. I swear I do this in my sleep. I also turn my pencil, so you'll kind of see me turn my pencil. And before you know it, it'll become second nature. Seriously, you'll be doing it without thinking about it. If you're new to hair, you may not. think to turn your pencil, and that's okay. Don't worry so much about turning your pencil. That just keeps me from having to sharpen. But if you're sitting there like losing track of what you're doing because you're focusing too much on turning your pencil, then stop turning your pencil. All right, now you're gonna grab chalk tone. If you don't have Black Widows, then it's just gonna be a really dark brown. Not a, I would say kind of an espresso-ish brown. Yeah, going for like an espresso-like color. Okay, we're also going from the base with this color and just flicking. Be very light-handed with it. Do not worry about putting your little flicks in the exact same spot I did. Also, do not make them uniform. Is your hair uniform? No. So, like, seriously, do not overthink it. I think that's the problem a lot of people have with hair. They think too much. Now here it's going to be darker because we have less hair and it's clumped together from that braid. So I'm going to bring that line all the way down for a minute. Now up here in the inside of the braid, I'm just going to kind of squiggly get some of my white covered. All right, now if you're following along with Black Widow, we're going to switch over to Negra. Same thing, going from the base, light flicking, but I'm pulling this one out a lot further, except you're going to notice that my ends are going to come together faster here and not here, because I want the highlight fatter over here. Okay? Again, do not put your color exactly like, where I'm at. Just follow the basic rule I'm giving you. I don't want you to overthink it. Hair should be relaxing. Honestly, you should do it mindlessly. Like I do hair without thinking. It's literally my flick therapy, as I like to joke. Now see how I'm bringing this color a little bit past our two darkest colors? That's what you want to do, okay? So we've kind of built up our shadow, as you can see. Where's my brush? Black Widows can get a teensy crumbly. So you want to just make sure. All right, now I'm grabbing my Dragon Castle, which is a nice medium brown. I am still flicking from the base and coming out a little further. Again, I turn my pencil to prevent me from having to constantly sharpen, but if you're new to hair, please don't focus on that. That can come later in your hair journey. Now I'm bringing the line past the last color, but just slightly. Kind of closing in the gap, but notice how it's fanning out. Hair does take a long time, FYI. People don't believe me, but I spend like 3 hours on a single thing of hair. All right, now we're going to take our Foxy Brown. This is kind of like a nice lighter, tan. I don't want to say light tan, medium tan. All right, this one I'm not taking from the base. I'm kind of going about midway through, and that's just because we have enough layers on the base. And I'm bringing this out to kind of close my gaps. I'm going to use this to kind of outline this one part here, because while the highlight is there, we don't want it, you don't want a big old fat line. You want to bring those lines together. As you can see in all my highlights, I'm not having some massive chunk in there, okay? And this color is going to really help bring the ends together, but we're not done after this color, so don't think you've made it just yet, because it's not as even as those yet. All right. Now we're going to take our SC18, which is just a nice light tan color. That's the base color. And we're going to go right here in the center and soften it out. Now, if you're new to hair, I actually recommend doing braids, which I know sounds more confusing and daunting, but it's actually not, because you're working in small little clumps as opposed to one big monster thing of hair. Okay, that's just my opinion. Do you have to use it? Nope. So I'm using this to kind of close the gaps. You can even just kind of very lightly go over it. Now, I'm going to come back with my black, which is Midnight if you have the Black Widows, or you can use the Black Widow black. Just gonna make some really tiny flicks and kind of fill in some of that gap there. All right, brush it off, because like I said, Black Widows are crumbly. Chalk tone. I'm not using heavy pressure either. I'm just building up some layers where I feel it is lacking in the color depth. Like I want it a little darker up here. Now, you're not using heavy pressure by any means. This honestly should not hurt your hands or wrists too much. I know it seems like it would, but I'm using very light pressure and just flicking, and I'm not even, it's just my fingers. See my fingers moving? My wrist is staying where I'm at while I flick with my hands, or my fingers. You know what I meant. That thing that's moving. But very light pressure, so you really shouldn't get a hand cramp. If you are, then you are either using too much pressure or you are using your wrist, which you should not be using. Like I said, eventually you'll just be doing this in your sleep and not even notice. At least I don't. I just sit there and zone out, watch a show, or sit there in silence sometimes. And just flick away. So I'm just layering because our hair is indeed multi-dimensional. If you do this with one layer, you're not going to get that multi-dimensional feel. All right, now I'm just grabbing my Foxy Brown. That's that color that we brought through the middle. I'm getting over a cold, so just bringing it down there, closing the gap a little more, making it nice and natural. Okay, and then we're gonna take our highlight color one more time and just flick over the center to bring it in. All right, let me adjust my camera for you. All right, there you go. That is the one that we colored. This is the whole head of hair I've colored. But as you can see, I did make it darker on this side because see how her body is turned a little? So this side is not going to get as much light, so I was a little bit heavier with my black, but I made my highlight a lot shinier. But again, it may look to you like there's a nice big highlight, but when you look at it up close, you'll see that most of those lines are covering that highlight color. Same thing with this big chunk in the center. This is a hard one to do, so if you have this picture or something similar, I suggest breaking it up into sections. You can actually see the sections you could do. So one here, one here, one here, one here, and then one here, and so forth. So you just kind of have to look for the sections and clump them when you're new to it. When I'm doing a full head of hair, I often will just fill in a bunch with my highlight and then come back and come through. But then you got to always think of your shadows. So see, this piece of hair is overlapping this big piece. So I have a nice deep shadow right there. Then this is going to hit tons of light because she's turned, her body is turned towards the light. So that's why this side is darker. Whereas this one is a big section, so it's already going to hit light if she was facing straight on. But it's going to get even more light because this is the side getting all that light. But then as it curves and tucks in, it gets darker again, all right? So that's something to remember when you're doing braids or even just curly hair. It's gotta tuck somewhere. A curl does not just curl and have no shadow zone. There has to be a shadow of some sort. So always keep that in mind when you are doing hair. Hopefully you guys found this helpful. I'm gonna finish this off myself, this last section, yay! And then do the skin. But let me know in the comments below if you enjoyed this one or if you have any questions. And then if you want to learn how to do Black Widows similar to this, but with some blonde highlights, just keep watching because I will have linked to my next video right on the screen for you. And you can click that and watch how to do brown hair with nice golden highlights. Until next time, guys, take care. Bye now.